Jake wiped grease from his hands as the crash echoed through his garage. Metal screeched against concrete, followed by a series of electronic beeps that definitely didn't belong to any Earth vehicle. He grabbed his wrench and cautiously approached. The source of the commotion, a small spacecraft no bigger than a compact car, had punched through his garage roof and embedded itself between his workbench and the old Chevy he'd been restoring. Steam hissed from various ports along its silver hull, and strange symbols glowed faintly across its surface. The craft's door slid open with a soft whistle. Jake expected to see little green men, or perhaps some Hollywood-style aliens. Instead, a creature about the size of a human child emerged, though it looked nothing like any earthly being. Its skin shimmered like oil on water, constantly shifting between deep blues and purples. 4 arms extended from its torso, each ending in delicate, finger-like appendages. Most striking were its eyes, large, luminous orbs that seemed to hold. Far more intelligence than its small stature suggested. "Greetings, human mechanic," the creature said in perfect English, though its voice carried an odd melodic quality. "I am Pip of the Caven Republic. My navigation systems have failed, and I require assistance." Jake blinked, wondering if he'd inhaled too many paint fumes. "You can talk, indeed. Your species' linguistic patterns were among the first we studied when we discovered your world." Pip tilted its head, examining Jake with obvious curiosity. "You work with mechanical devices, correct? I observed your repair activities through your transparent wall coverings before my landing." "Windows," Jake said automatically. "And yeah, I fix cars. But I'm guessing your ship is a bit more complicated than a carburetor." Pip's eyes brightened. "Perhaps not as much as you might think. Mechanical principles remain consistent across most civilizations. Combustion, energy transfer, structural integrity, these concepts translate universally." Jake found himself walking closer to the ship, his natural curiosity overriding his shock. "What kind of propulsion system does this thing use?" "Quantum displacement drives, but the fundamental mechanics involve energy conversion and directional thrust, not unlike your primitive rocket technology." Pip gestured toward the craft's rear section. "The primary issue appears to be a failure in my stabilization metrics. Without it, I cannot achieve proper trajectory control. Mind if I take a look?" For the next 2 hours, Jake found himself deep in the most fascinating repair job of his life. Pip proved to be an excellent teacher, explaining alien technology in terms Jake could understand. The ship's systems were indeed more advanced than anything on Earth, but the basic principles were surprisingly familiar. Energy flowed through conduits, moving parts required lubrication, and damaged components needed replacement. As they worked, Pip shared stories of the wider galaxy. Hundreds of species had formed a loose confederation called the Caven Republic, trading knowledge and resources across thousands of worlds. Earth had been discovered decades ago, but the Republic maintained strict non-interference policies with developing civilizations. "You're breaking that rule right now, aren't you?" Jake asked, realigning a crystalline component that seemed to pulse with its own light. "Technically, yes," Pip admitted, "but emergency protocols override standard procedures. Besides, I find your species particularly interesting." "How so?" Pip paused in its work, those large eyes focusing on Jake with an intensity that made him slightly uncomfortable. "Most species develop technology to distance themselves from manual labor. They create machines to think for them, to build for them, to solve problems for them. But humans still work with their hands. You understand your machines intimately because you build and repair them yourselves." Jake shrugged. "Never thought about it that way. Just seems natural to fix things when they break." "That perspective is rarer than you might think." Pip's voice carried a note of sadness. "My own people have forgotten such skills. We purchase our technology from others, Use it until it fails, then simply acquire replacements. Few of us understand how anything actually works. They completed the repairs. As the sun began to set, the ship hummed with renewed life, its systems cycling through startup sequences. Jake felt an unexpected pang of disappointment as Pip prepared to leave. "Before I depart," Pip said, hesitating near the ship's entrance, "might I ask you something unusual? In my observations of human culture, I've noticed the importance you place on family units, particularly the relationship between parents and offspring. This concept is foreign to my species. We are created in artificial wombs and raised collectively by automated systems. Individual bonding is considered inefficient." Jake frowned. "That sounds pretty lonely." "I believe it is," Pip said quietly. "Which brings me to my request. Could you perhaps explain how one might acquire a father figure? Your databases suggest it involves more than simple biological relation." The question caught Jake completely off guard. He studied the small alien, noting the way it held itself with a slight slump, the dimming of its luminous skin. Despite its advanced technology and vast knowledge, Pip seemed like nothing so much as a lost child. "A dad isn't something you can build or buy," Jake said slowly. "It's about finding someone who cares about you, who wants to teach you things and help you grow. Someone who'll be there when you need them. Like how you taught me about your repair techniques today. Something like that?" "Yeah." Pip was quiet for a long moment. "Would it be possible for me to return here occasionally? My duties require extensive travel, but this system lies along several of my regular routes. I could bring interesting mechanical problems for us to solve together." Jake grinned. "Kid, you just crashed an alien spaceship into my garage and made it the best day I've had in years. You're welcome here any time." The little alien's skin brightened noticeably. "Thank you, Jake. I believe I understand now why humans value these relationships so highly." As Pip's ship lifted silently into the darkening sky, Jake realized he'd just gained something he'd never expected, an alien foster child with a talent for mechanics and a thirst for knowledge. He'd spent his life fixing broken machines, but somehow, in helping repair Pip's ship, he'd also helped fix something broken in both of them. The next morning, he started reinforcing his garage roof. Something told him he'd be needing the extra structural support Dot Shot Control's Sonnet 4.